Hey guys, so making a YouTube video. I haven't made a YouTube video in who knows how long. Tyler with me as usual. That's gonna have to be cut out. Yeah, so this is a series I'm gonna do, which basically shows the best free games that you can get from things like Steam or just like any kind of website that has free games. Starting off with actually a game that I don't stop playing because I love it like loads. Elsword Online. If you know it, then you know what I'm talking about. You know how good it is. So just don't watch this video because you know what I'm talking about. But basically, it's like an side-scroll MMORPG, like that little bit of twist, and it's actually really good, anime style as well. That's why it's good. Basically, you've got a series of dungeons that you can go into earn XP. And you use that XP to upgrade your character and put up certain skill points. Like I said, it's side scroller. You get to allot certain abilities to certain slots on your keyboard, which is pretty cool actually, I must say. And you go around, and it's basically like if it were third person or a normal free roam MMORPG. You go around, and you can just enter dungeons and talk to people for quests, and they basically tell you to go into even more dungeons and do even more quests. Basically, this game requires doing dungeons over and over again. I think for every dungeon there is, you have to at least play through it 3 times. Once on the easiest difficulty, once on the second hardest, and then once on the hardest. And you can have people with you if you want. It makes it much easier, and it's really not that hard. And it's a lot of fun to play with friends.
Like my nan, who's been friends with me for about the last 6 years, we go through dungeon quests all the time together, and also my nan is.
That's going to be cut out. Yeah, there's a variety of enemies based on which part of the world you're in. See here, you'll see I'm attacking some trees. It's pretty weird, but it does changes around. Blah blah blah. You get to certain gates. And then it lets you go through, and it takes you to like different parts of the world. Here we're running through like a sort of deserty area. There are NPCs to sell you stuff, NPCs that give you quests, NPCs that show you leaderboards and quest boards as well, like you'd find in that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, which is actually a really good game. Here you'll see some variety in the dungeons that you go into. The quest bar, which goes along the side, also tells you your progress. And sometimes you have to go into dungeons, kill a certain amount of enemies in a mission or two. So,
Yeah, the game designers were told that they had to put variety into the dungeons because otherwise it wasn't actually ethnically correct. The company's been sued many times before for including reasons with discrimination against and so the dungeons have a lot of variance, so to make sure that gameplay is as ethnically correct as it could possibly be.
You're not making this easy for me, are you? Oh yeah, you have to queue for a dungeon. It usually tells you in the top right above the dungeon queuing button, tells you how long your estimated wait is, which is always good because you want to find out how long you're waiting, especially if it's something like I don't know. Like I remember Halo 3 took years to load if you were playing on a really crappy console. Tyler should know about that because he had a console which was just falling apart. He even took it apart and it was like half open. That's how I got the new faceplate on my Xbox. It got it from its broken one. Yeah. So here, obviously, wow, it looks exactly the same as the one we were just in. But I think I'm a higher level here, and you can see like my abilities change. You get special abilities that have shortcuts that are like mandatory shortcuts. You can't not have it on a shortcut, which I guess is a bad thing because, I mean, you could, if you wanted button combinations to activate certain abilities, that would always be good for you. But it doesn't have that. I mean, who wants button combinations anyway? Screw you. Here's the menu. You can customize your character. When you start, it usually gives you about a month's worth of free, like they're called costumes that you can put on your weapons and armor. And it basically just makes you look cool. Doesn't really add any extra damage. The best thing is, money is really easy to come by in this game. Like you'll be rich within a day of playing this game. I have about probably about basically a really long time's worth of gameplay on this game. I have 18.4 hours worth of gameplay on this game, and that's long for me on Steam because I barely ever play on Steam because I'm a console noob, but I don't have anything to record my consoles with.
I have over 200 hours of gameplay on Space Engineers.
This isn't about Space Engineers, but, you know, they could say that for another time. Yeah, so that's the menu interface right there. And you get given items as a result of winning, as results of like going through dungeons and finishing them off. And you also get to see stuff like story plot in the game, and you find boss battles, which actually, like, you find a boss, you beat the boss. Yeah, a few levels later, you might bump into that boss again, but it's an upgrade and harder to do. It's got some story to it, which makes it a good MMORPG, because if it was just random enemies with no story, a lot like World of Warcraft, I believe, that popular MMO that I really do not like. Right, not like Star Wars. Star Wars is brilliant. Tyler agrees.
Yes!
Yeah, so, yeah.
Although I don't understand why Qui-Gon had to die.
Because he sucked. Although he was Liam Neeson, so he didn't deserve to die.
That's what I mean.
Oh, you also get like a certain gauge. If you look in the top left, there are 3 bars. The top bar is your health, the middle bar is your mana, which is in every fucking game to use your special powers. And below that is the little small red bar, which is really thin on the screen I'm looking at. And that's basically a power that doubles the amount of XP. I don't think it doubles your XP, but it doubles your damage or something like that. It's like a damage multiplier. It's pretty good. And it sometimes activates when someone else activates theirs, like when you're in like a dungeon mission together. Or it sometimes activates if you're in a dungeon mission, or if you're on like a really good streak with a combo or something. It usually does that. It's actually a really well thought out game, and it's really good considering it's a side scroller. Totally underrated. I haven't seen anyone on my friends list on Steam playing it. It is really, really good, and I believe you should check it out. Yeah, so that's it for the free games this week. Check out next week if I can be bothered to make a video, and hopefully Tyler won't be talking about on masturbating with a TV remote next to me. Bye.